Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm Part 40, Heat and Light. Picking right back up where we left off. In the last episode we ended with a physical inconsistency, namely when you see heat radiating off of a surface, why does that affect the visual field? We're going to provide some more novel analysis in here, a couple more proofs, and then just revisit some of the big ideas I've been saying and try to, again, provide a direct physical result. But the proof of primes, remember, 3, 5, and 7 are the only uniterated geometrically closed n polygons. So we have a very clear definition of what a prime number is. A prime number is an uniterated number. And so we've been talking about the physical motivations for mathematical operators. Is division the natural opposite of iteration? What is the relationship of multiplication and iteration? Very clear logically to me that this is some form, multiplication is some form of iteration. Iteration is somehow related to multiplication. And again, with reference to syllability, generality, basis, and range, maybe one's more specific than the other, maybe one applies to more context than the other. That should be very clear logically to everybody. When again, what's the exact relationship, not sure. But then how does iteration relate to division? And so I have our number system written back up here. And I have it written, I'll explain why I have it written it this way, 1 and 2, right? We live in 3 dimensions. 1 and 2 are stable numbers, they're complete numbers. 3, 5, and 7 we demonstrated as the prime numbers, so that should be our base for our number system, or our base set of the number system, or the basis. And 8 and the infinity sign rotated sideways. And then 4 and 6, the even numbers. The 8 is like the boundary. 4 and 6 are just even numbers between 3 and 7, and then 6 and 9 are rotations of one another. Nice. But what did I want to point out here? So now what we have is a very clear mathematical number theory description of what the fundamental stability of 2 is. The fundamental stability of 2 states the only difference between sequential prime numbers is 2. And it happens 2 times. Gucci 2 times. Say it 2 times. Squeeze the nipples. Squeeze the nipples. Shout out Gucci, man. But facts. And so what we've done is we've geometrically reduced the set of prime numbers to a finite set of numbers. And it's a very small set, so that's a complete calculation, but that's what the fundamental stability of 2 is. And now we're going to do two simple proofs by shadows and by fingers. What do fingers do? Fingers finger. Ask your mother, she knows. But look around the room at anything with a shadow. How many iterations of that shadow are there? 3. There were only 3 iterations of that shadow. Now, if you just go into your bathroom, turn on the light, or just any room, and just walk, close to a shadow. I can't really demonstrate it because the whiteboard, but towards the shadow and away from the shadow, and you'll see the 3 iterations start forming resonance patterns in the same way you see light reflecting and it looks cool. You'll start seeing shadows do the same thing. So that's a direct physical observation that will never change physically. So what does that prove? Does that prove our physics' base 3 system, right? Clear geometric argument, numeric argument, clear physical demonstration. So 3 is base physics, some sort of iteration, and the proof of fingers, right? Say you're okay with your hands, or we ask the question, does the letter O with 0 eccentricity, can you form the number 8? Make the number, say you're okay with your fingers. Okay, Bill, How many points did you score? I scored 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So you can form a closed shape with 8 segments, with 8 edges. So that, again, that's something. So we've covered the fundamental stability of 2, the proof by shadows and fingers. And now, like I said, that's a proof, direct argument. What does the shadows prove? Now I'm just going to respond to some of the other major themes or major statements or major results I've talked about and try just to see what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So now I keep reiterating, restating, and I'm intuitively confident. I keep saying 3 dimensions. I keep saying base 3 physics. I keep saying base 2 number system. So I think because of completeness, the word in this context, dimension, still, if you said, Brad, what is a dimension? You said there's 3 dimensions, what are they? Well, if I drew a graph, X and Y, those aren't dimensions, those are variables. We've made a distinct difference between variables and unknowns. And we can define that the actual universe is unknowable, right? The different planets have different observable universes. And if you took one planet, 3 planets, 2 planets that can communicate to each other, and 2 other planets that can communicate with each other, just because the first and the third can't communicate doesn't make either one non-existent. So that's a physical definition of range. But when I say 3 dimensions, what do I mean by dimension? We can only move forward. So I need better explanation there. And I said direction come in pairs too. I'm sure that's some sort of, because 3 is less than 2, live in 3 dimensions, some sort of completeness for directionality. Base 2 number system, same thing. Stability, complete, universal growth. Right? We talk about learning, you can't go back. So does 2, right? The shell of a black hole provides a lot of information about the 3-dimensional structure. Is it complete? No. Is it a close approximation? Sure. Can you calculate that difference numerically? Probably not. Just responding to the big ideas and trying to really hone in on some sort of specific result or something, find an inconsistency that I am missing. But solid, we've said, right, that gas was in a coherent system. But solids are the only systems or the only structures with definitive volumes. A liquid is going to conform to the volume of whatever container it's in. So there's only one definitive, one too many, there's one thing with volume. There are 2 directions. There are 3 mass, I don't know. And then, right, the heat modifies visuals. We said at the beginning of this one, I intuitively said heat radiates. So does light radiate? What am I doing with light? Where did light go? Why isn't that the right word? Why is that a reduced word? Why is that a non-applicable word? But again, heat modifies visuals. There's 3 iterations of a shadow. How does heat and light relate? What's going on? Momentum reflects structure, color, and that's what we said, right? We go outside. The momentum of the sun heats you up, not the light of the sun. Light has no temperature. Momentum causes vibration or changes vibration. Vibration's the base. Momentum describes movement. A thing vibrating enough will move. But that gives us enough physical derivation to say that color reflects structure. And now, what's the direct relationship of color and light? Color, light. So I'm thinking, right, if you said no explanation needed, people would intuitively associate color and light together. But maybe color is the progressive word from light. But I'm confident color reflects structure. Burn anything at a high enough temperature, it's going to burn red, then blue. The colors are proportional to temperature. But then how... reviewing the simple prism demonstration. How does all of this affect that description or explanation? How isn't that light? How isn't that a beam of white light refracted? Again, some sort of iteration of structure. I'm not personally that intuitively from an engineering standpoint exactly how lasers work, so in some sort of resonance, deconstructing resonance, something. And then just another random thought, well not random thought, but geometric thought with these other things we've said. It's right, 6 to 5 fingers. 6 is the dominant genotypic result. What's the opposite of phenotype? Genotype is the dominant gene, but clearly 5, most people have 5 fingers, so this is some sort of iteration of geometry and anatomy. But just the big, again, very clear observations in this episode and very clear physical result is color is proportional to temperature, and I'm also thinking color is proportional to structure. So that's what I got for today. Thank you for watching From Rhythm to Algorithm Part 40, Heat and Light.